Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky. I'm coming on to talk to you about the December 2023 Comprehensive Astrology, what a tide turning and shifting month ahead we have coming in. In this video, I will be giving you all some intuitive messages, followed by some astrology charts and transits, and we will get all of the insight that we need for the month ahead. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying the Sagittarius season coming in. I think it's very welcome for many of us, especially the fire air people, as November was a very water earth dominant month, and that is finally changing here. I'm so excited for December. First of all, a bit of housekeeping, everyone. I want to announce that we will be doing 2 live premieres in December. On the 8th of December, it will be the Global Dynamics for the ending chapter of 2023 live premiering. And then on the 15th of December, it will be the 2024 year ahead forecasts for all signs live premiering. Both of those will be at 8 p.m. Central Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and 6 p.m. Pacific Time. So I will try to post on the community tab some more time zones for you all if you're in a different part of the world. But yeah, go ahead and put it on your calendar if you get the chance, the 8th and the 15th of December. I'm so excited to come together. We have not been able to do many live premieres in 2023, and it's always so fun to do that. So I'm so excited. Also, I'm happy to tell you guys that free trials are available on Patreon. Again, if you guys want to try out the Patreon page for a week for free, those are available. Come check that out. That will be linked below in the description box. I know a lot of you have been on the edge of considering it, so I wanted to go ahead and put that back in for a limited time here. And I know that we're in this time of the year where it's the end of the year and there's usually some good discounts. So I wanted to also extend that to you all. Week free trials on Patreon. Come check it out. You get all of the monthly forecasts over there now, as well as weekly forecasts called T-Chat. So it's a really great value. Come and check that out. So anyway, announcements aside, let's talk about December of 2023. Thank goodness we are back in mutable fire Sagittarius energy. So yes, getting into that intuitive space. Tide turning is one of the first words that I got when I was thinking of December, and this is also going to be a big part of the 2024 year cycle as well. There's a completely different way that we are going to be structuring our lives. So there's a lot of dissolution happening leading up to December 2023. I feel that it's out with the old and in with the new in December. There's a very potent new energy coming in December this year, and it's kind of a transitional period to the next year cycle. Okay, so we are still in Rabbit Year, but we're going to be transitioning to Dragon Year, I believe, in either February or March. And this last little 2 or 3 month window of the 2023 cycle, the more celestial cycle, is going to totally reorient our ideas about all of the structures in our life, and we're going to be really compelled by our own experience and our own motivations to really start getting stuff right. I feel that there's a reconciliation of deficit happening in December, so where we have overspent time, money, and energy, that's going to wrap back around, and we have a good opportunity to get ahead of that. There is a very good opportunity through like a bit perhaps of austerity here, or a bit of simplicity, kind of like narrowing things down a little bit. You guys know that for the entire 2023 year cycle, I've been talking about the importance of narrowing, reduction, kind of like pulling things back, simplifying things a little bit, getting a better system going in your life. There's still a great opportunity for that here in December, but I will say the tide already starts to turn a little bit, and we become more focused on new areas of growth and expansion. I feel also a lot of people getting frustrated in December with this feeling of like biding the time or continuing to hold back. That's been a big part of 2023 as well, as it's like it's not quite time to fly away from the nest, or it's not quite time to leave the safe harbor. That's still not going to quite feel right in December, but people are getting antsy, okay? People are getting antsy in the nest, getting antsy in the harbor. They're like, okay, I'm ready to like set sail onto the sea. I'm ready to get the boat back out. of the harbor. I'm ready for like a new adventure, but it may still not be timely. So I do feel that to be like the main shadow point of December is people have this kind of like chaotic energy where they are really wanting a different way, but they're not yet willing to split from the safety of what they know. So familiarity is becoming a chaotic construct for a lot of people because there's a lukewarm feeling, or there's a feeling of being 1 foot in, 1 foot out of a lot of life for many people. And I feel that the significance of this dynamic happening here in December is kind of one of careful what you wish for. It's like I think a lot of people have really wanted for a long time these half in, half out stabilities. Like I have this predictable aspect of my life, which gives me a certain baseline to like dream for the future, which in concept sounds really good, but maybe in reality is a little bit destabilizing because it kind of leads to a confusion about what the main focus or main story aspect of what we're doing is. So 2024, which we're about to hit in the calendar year by the end of December, is a main story year. It can't really be a side quest year. It can't really be a year, like it's like almost not physically possible to do what we're not meant to do in 2024, to not make the progress we've needed for years in 2024. Which does inevitably mean, I feel, a departure or some kind of like push out of a comfort zone. But for some people, it's through like reconciling some form of deficit or through turning the tide on something that has been chaotic or destabilized for a long time that they generate the actual energy to do this. So this is like the main important thing in the grander scheme of time in December 2023 is basically making sure that your energetic resources are being fostered or held in a way that it will be eventually possible to actually kind of shoot off or rise to the greater departure, the greater narrative, okay, the greater persona of you. So this is also a persona conceptualizing period of time, therefore also a very egoic period of time. I feel that Scorpio, Sag, and Capricorn with Mars and the Sun kind of trailing naturally, chronologically together, Mercury as well. We'll talk more about that with the charts, but that is really consciously building an ego, consciously building persona. And I would also say dispelling or disrupting aspects of ourselves that are not timely or are not relevant anymore. So it's a large scale burning away of debris. It's a large scale donation for some people, leaving of certain territories, things which are clinging on, things which are debris in our lives, things which are not functioning well, are not efficient, start to come to the chopping block here. And this process kind of generates a certain idea, whether just internally or also like as other people perhaps observe our actions during this time, we start to really build a certain persona. So this is a challenging aspect of this period of time. As we have this very late Pluto in Capricorn, we have this very strong ego building period of time. And beyond ego building, I would say a strong just impression made on the people around us, on the world, on any circumstance that we're in. And I feel that this starts to create, in some cases, an unhealthy feeling of pressure. The pressure situation is something that we have to really scrutinize leading up to 2024, because some of us cannot really function efficiently under the pressure that we have in our lives. So another part of December is going to be like accepting new forms of limitations, also accepting, it's not even as much about limitations, that's a part of it, but maybe it's more about realizing that there's been something taken on that's not well structured, or something has been like, it's kind of like trial and error. There's been an error here, and now we need to kind of readjust and start to also understand contractual obligations. There's a big thing about change in contract in December with the Sagittarius and Capricorn cusp, and then of course Mars and Mercury, right? We're going to have a Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, and it will go direct towards the later part of Sagittarius, which will signal a different contract starting when Mercury goes into Capricorn in January alongside the anaretic Pluto. So that January is going to be very much about starting contracts, okay? So this is a time of deliberation, isn't it? And I mean, all of 2023 has been. I think we're all kind of tired of it, but it's necessary. 2023 year cycle and rabbit archetype in general, there's a part of it that's very kind of erratic, and it's like, I could do this over here, I could do that over there, but I can't do both. What are the pros and cons on both sides? And it can get kind of like crazy in the mind, or edgy in the mind. Actually, I don't really like the word crazy. I'll just share this with you guys. I got an intuition when I was filming, I forget, a Patreon content, and I was using the word crazy, and I just got this intuition. It was like, the word crazy is not really right to describe anything. I like edgy. I like edgy instead. Because crazy just does not really captivate the right impression usually. So there's an edginess to the mind with this year, where it's kind of like so many different momentums and directions that cannot coexist, that we're holding in one mind space, trying to decide how to proceed. And we'll touch on this in the Global Dynamics video, live premiering on the 8th of December. This is going to be a big part of that video, where it's like holding polarity or holding on to certain like conflict opposition points because of a fear of committing to one different polarity, or a fear also of not making the right choice. We have a major collective ego battle right now relating to, what if I made the wrong choice? What if I didn't support the right people, the right side? What if as everything starts to fragment and new types of fractures happen, and we can't associate ourselves in the same way anymore, but we didn't expect it to happen. There's like this kind of chaos at both the macro and micro. This is very much in alignment with what I'm going to be talking about in Global Dynamics this year. Is like, there's nothing that we can do other than get our own systems more efficient and recalculate from there for a lot of people. And it seems to have very resounding like ripples. So it's like you can't change just one little thing at this point. That's the other thing that we have coming up here, and that's freaking a lot of us out, because we're used to this. We're used to this after like 2020 to like November 2023, that 3.5 year period. There's been this really kind of miraculous energy here, where it's like you can change one little thing and like one little cog and everything starts working right. That's starting to change, and we're looking at having to really reassess the entire context of situations, and it not being about tiny little changes, but actually more grand actions. And 2024 is going to be a year of grand actions and grand outcomes as well, based on some of the contractual entry points that January of 2024 is going to require by the end of Capricorn season. Like by the end of Capricorn season, like I'm serious, like the January 19th to like January 29th period of time, that 10-day window, that's going to be a very powerful time when the sun activates the Pluto cusp to make a very long-running decision for a lot of people. So this isn't a January astrology video, but knowing that that's coming in January, it might kind of make you plan in December to perhaps really get sober and clear-minded about pros and cons. And of course, we can't totally predict everything. Sometimes also I'm seeing that 2024, like some of us are going to try to implement certain things and it's just going to have to be canceled out. And then some of us are going to get lucky, or some of us are going to have planned really well and we're going to implement really great things. But we're going to maybe have to get more willing to also cancel things out, or more willing to say no, more willing to like realize that things aren't working, and being able to like not force ourselves to participate in things that don't work because we think that that's consistency, or we think that that's loyalty, or we think that we're proving something to ourselves by not giving up or persevering. This is very evocative of the energy that we're in right now. So we have to be able to sort of cultivate that feeling of things being consistent, of having consistency in our lives, but also like not forcing ourselves, okay? This gets to be a very dark energy sometimes where through like a greater ideal of consistency or perseverance, we're forcing ourselves to be somewhere we don't need to be. That's going to be a major part of transforming in December, as a lot of us have to withdraw from something, or we have to go all in. That half in, half out thing is gone in 2024 to a lot of extent. Okay, let's go ahead and get these charts up on the screen and talk about, more specifically, the astrology coming in this month. Okay, so first off, as I'm looking at the charts, what I can see just by the angles is that we're going to move into a much more sharpening precision by the end of December, and something builds up at the baseline as well. So again, it's like a reconciliation. There is for some people, like getting out of debt, okay, getting out of certain obligations happens here, but to the extent where you actually build more through it. So maybe there's a decrease in expenses, or there's a decrease in time spent on something that's going to either give you more resources, time back into your experience. That's very opportune for the month of December. And that's also just what I'm seeing through the sort of Rorschach of the chart. But there's still a pinpointed kind of goal. And what the energy is kind of coalescing through December is trying to get us more exact on what it is that we're shooting for, what it is that we're trying to do, what it is that we're trying to create, and to be less clumsy, to be less clunky, to be less all over the place. So it gets a little bit more precise. So at a like more mundane level, I think this means, again, getting debris out of the way. It means making sure that we're prioritizing mental health, that we're prioritizing stepping away from things that mess that up, like bad sleep cycles, addictions. There's a very strong energy right now that's quite strict, actually, about keeping yourself kind of like in a pure form separation from unnecessary chaos, okay? So that can mean like not choosing just like not to be with certain people who like trigger you or who invite negative things into your life, just not entering certain places, not also getting onto certain like apps or social media that even make you like waste time. There's a very strong separation in energy where it's like you can't even dabble, or you can't even like do this in moderation. It has to be totally cut. So I'm seeing a lot of things being cut off here, but it might not be in the area that you think. The Sagittarius energy this month, which is really exciting for me to see. We're going to be having Venus and Mars and Mercury, the Sun, all in Sagittarius this month. Venus is going to move so quickly through Scorpio, which is good. In the month of December, it goes all the way through the sign of Scorpio. So, I mean, there's a very fast-moving kind of debilitated energy of Venus this month, and it won't be until the end of the month that Venus gets stronger into Sagittarius. So, having Venus and Mars there is going to really help us by the end of the month, though. So, like, things in regards to relationships can make very solid progress in December, but it can be like the end of the month before you feel that that is the case. Yes. I'm just looking through the dates that I have written down here. What do we want to talk about? Okay. So Mercury does enter Capricorn before it retrogrades in Sagittarius. I believe that is actually on the 1st of December. Mercury goes into Capricorn and it spends about 2 weeks in Capricorn, trining Jupiter before it moves back into Taurus. So that's going to be before it moves back into Sagittarius. The first 2 weeks of December are very, very potent for reductions and understanding these contractual changes happening in January. So if you guys can be very thoughtful and mindful in the first 2 weeks of the month before the Mercury retrograde, I would recommend that, because of course when Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius, that's kind of brain busting, okay? First of all, Mercury is debilitated in Sagittarius and it's retrograde. So we're going to have a double dose debilitated Mercury retrograde this year. So December 13th, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, quickly back into Sagittarius. This is going to be an important time to go on holiday, okay? Or just kind of like take it easy. Like we're by the second half of the month, okay? Like 13th through the 31st. Let's see, what day does Mercury go direct? That's kind of further up. When is that? Okay, yeah, it's actually on the calendar New Year, 1st of January, 2024. Mercury goes direct, 23 degrees Sagittarius. All right. So yeah, basically from like the 13th of December to the 1st of January, we want to kind of wind it down. Try to go on holiday. And if you do work or if you're having to be very productive during that time, try to make it as autopilot as possible. That's not a time to like really be going crazy with a lot of very thoughtful, precise, mindful stuff. I also feel about the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn and Sagittarius in December. There's an importance placed on getting certain things behind us and not having to think about them anymore. Certain heavy, outworn things, certain mindsets, right, with the sign of Sagittarius and Capricorn, both material and mindset level things that are burdensome, overwhelming, or outworn need to really be placed behind. So again, I'm feeling that some people are going to like pay off debt here. Some people are going to get something that's really costly out of their lives as well. And this can definitely happen at like a mindset level too. Pluto is back to 29 degrees, okay, through the month of December. So we have Pluto getting back to the anaretic degree from 28 to 29. So I feel that that's important for December too. It is basically putting major stress onto a lot of systems and structures at a macro level. So this can be like cracks in the foundation of certain things. So some things are too heavy, certain stress injuries, certain things have had too much pressure put on them, certain things are too costly, certain things are not valued properly. There's this sort of value crisis at both, again, a material and I suppose ideological level as well. And this is also very powerful for like Pluto return stuff as well. And we're getting close to that cusp again of Capricorn and Aquarius for Pluto. So it feels like a dark time as well. Of course, this is the dark time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, but when I say dark, it feels like a time of seeing where things aren't working, like not being able to ignore that certain things don't work, not being able to fake it, not being able to pretend also or suspend disbelief that certain things are not broken or certain things are not fragmented. And I'm seeing this as a very, again, edgy thing for a lot of people. So maybe not even as much those of us here, but like you might be having, because again, remember, Pluto deals with other people. It's the ruler of Scorpio. So it's like other people's resources, other people's ideas, other people's opinions. There's a feeling of that seeming very edgy. So like having to deal with people who are on the edge of something, also having to be underneath like the whims of a very kind of like unwieldy and edgy force. So this can be like having a crazy boss. This can be like having to really be subordinate to certain types of authority that are very edgy, okay? And not maybe necessarily being able to confront that in a way that offers solutions. But again, this is very temporary. This is like kind of just about this period of time. And to an extent, most of 2024, we will have Pluto retrograde back one more time to this anaretic degree. And there are very positive lessons that we can get from that as well. Very positive power, okay? Very strong period of time for learning about the way that forces and powers and energy and works, okay? And being able to also learn vicariously is a powerful thing about Pluto at the anaretic degree, like observing people and the decisions that they make and how that turns out for them. You can learn through that without having to go through it yourself. So that's like one of the most powerful places to be at the 29th degree of Pluto, is like in a more like observational place rather than in such a pushy or authoritative place. Although if you are in any kind of authority, It's a very, very important time to let things be as peaceful and to let things be as kind of like autonomous as possible, just because it's very easy with Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn to abuse authority or to abuse powers in some way. And it seems like it's hard for people not to do that if they're there. So that's something that is very much a part of December, is any kind of like edgy wielding of power. What do I want to talk about next? Okay, we do have Venus and the South Node together at the beginning of the month, and that's visible on the chart. So we're going to be seeing the beauty of the long-term experience. We're going to be, at the beginning of December, there's going to be a very nice, like, okay, I've worked for this many years doing this, and now I know I either want to continue on or I want to suspend. Or I really now see the beauty of my heritage, or the allure, or the natural way that things have worked for such a long time. This actually is interesting with the Pluto and Capricorn also having Saturn in Pisces. There's a very strong focus placed on beauty here. Neptune in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, Venus in the South Node in Libra, Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. Yes, there is a possibility here to really bring beauty, or to make your space, make your life more beautiful, to conceptualize how you're working to live a more beautiful and graceful life. Grace is really coming in, and it's a very nice contrast to this kind of power-hungry or greedy energy that is also very prevalent. So I would definitely recommend you guys leaning into that. Like, how can we make the experience, not through spending a bunch of money necessarily, not through taking on debts, not through that, because that will happen here too. But how can we just really, maybe at our own energetic level and in our own presence, really bring a lot more beauty and grace to whatever situation we're in? There's a lot of potential for that this month. Okay, Jupiter direct is happening here. What date is that? Okay, 30th of December. 30th of December, we have Jupiter direct in Taurus. That's going to be great. We've had Uranus and Jupiter together moving retrograde for a long time now. And that's been so chaotic. Jupiter and Uranus together by itself is very stormy and chaotic. You have Uranus, which is like this high quantum, stormy electrical energy, and then Jupiter, which is this augmenting and expansive and exaggerating force. So just imagine like an augmented, expanded, exaggerated electrical storm, retrograde in the grounded Earth sign of Taurus. It's been very kind of like extremely cosmically manic and erratic and difficult to process and destructive. So that's not going to end. That's going to be the whole duration of Jupiter in Taurus. But at least getting Jupiter direct will kind of make it healthier because it's not retrograde anymore. But yeah, that means it's going to start moving back towards Uranus. So they're going to get closer. So that's another dynamic that we're going to be having through 2024, is like this, what I just spoke about with the sort of feeling of that energy. And finally, December 2023, it seems like remotivating. I think that a lot of people can kind of quench any kind of burnout that they might be having. I think that a lot of people can really understand their why factor more and get remotivated. So that's good through maybe journaling or through understanding what the aim is, right? Like, again, that's kind of like the Rorschach to me of the charts. It's like a precise aim and kind of reforming and reasserting why it is that we're doing things. I think that that's been a big sort of disaster point for a lot of people in 2023, is like kind of like, again, being in harbor or being kind of like hibernating and then like kind of like detaching from like what it is that we're trying to do. So if you've been feeling that way, don't worry. December is going to offer many different avenues to start to solve that. And again, this influx of fire energy in Sagittarius is going to help a lot of people, despite the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. But yeah, so much Sagittarius. There could be like faux pas as well. There could be like accidentally saying things we didn't want to say, right? Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. There could be people, and try to give people grace as well. People can lack restraint during this month. People can say things they wish they didn't say. People can also dismiss things too easily as well. Like, for example, if you've had a conflict with someone, or you've had like a difficulty with someone for a long time, like all of a sudden they can be acting like nothing ever happened. All of a sudden things can be kind of lighthearted, which may and may not be appropriate in certain situations. But I feel that this month in December, it's like going to kind of try to compensate with humor, with cavalier sort of masculine energy. And that can be so welcome and so healing for some people. But in other circumstances, it can be a little bit edgy. Okay, it can be a little bit unhinged feeling, or it can be just kind of unexpected or catch people off guard. There's going to be a lot of that, like being caught off guard. This can definitely be happening at a bigger level as well, like unexpected provocations, unexpected, unexpected actions, unexpected kind of like boisterous and loud things happening in December. So guard your ears, everyone. Keep yourself peaceful and try to really lean into the first 2 weeks of the month to get certain understandings and preparing for that January energy that's going to come in. Yes, do check the description box below. There's a week free trial for Patreon if you guys have been wanting to try it out for free. If you don't like it, you can cancel. I've been really trying to work on making that service as great as possible, and I really like that we can do free trials now because it gives you guys the chance to try it, and if you don't like it, don't keep it. But it's a very important part of making this channel possible because of the way that YouTube works now. It's not really like something that you can monetize, okay, just from YouTube. That doesn't work that way anymore. So YouTube is more of a central hub for making other things work, and of course for creating community, which is so special. Of course, we're on Discord as well. But do check out the Patreon page, as that is what actually makes this channel feasible and possible. And yes, free trials available. So that's in the first link. And yes, come see me, come see the community here on the 8th of December at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, and the 15th at the same time as well. Those are both Fridays in mid-December for live premieres of Global Dynamics and then the 2024 year ahead forecasts for all signs. So hit the subscribe button below. I'll be putting out notifications and community tab posts to remind you, and comment and let me know how this December 2023 comprehensive astrology resonated for you all. Thank you so much. Have a great December, everyone. I really enjoyed it. Talk to you soon. Bye.